That's my favorite. It's me. It's Sarah G, the legit witch MD. I am here on this fantastical, wonderful, beautiful full moon is still kind of in the scape of things in the energy. Tarot Tuesday here. It is almost March. Can you guys believe that? It's crazy. But anyway, I am here with Jen from the Emerald Frog Reiki and More, which is a local Rhode Island place. Um, where is she? Here she is. Hi, Jen.
Hello. How's it going?
So good. I'm great. So Emerald Frog.
Yes.
Um, so it is a local establishment. I do feel it is more of a learning facility, more so than a shopping kind of situation. Hey, JK.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
Very little in the way of retail. Any retail that I had is pretty much gone for the most part now. So
Hmm.
classes and services is
Yep.
most of what we do. So Reiki,
Right.
readings, all kinds of classes, table tipping.
All kinds of classes. And I have to be completely honest with you. I have taken many classes at Emerald Frog, and the scope, especially with the talent that you do utilize, is incredible.
Thank you.
You are paramount for some of the things that people only dream about learning. Um, Hypnotherapy. What was some of the ones that John did last year? Um,
Oh gosh, he did dream interpretation. He
yeah.
did a class on the Enneagram. He did past life regression, journey of the soul, seven stewards of heaven. He's done a lot. And coming up, he is doing, well, he and Mark Seifer, who
Hmm.
is actually, I think you've been to one of the classes, and I don't remember which one it was. Mark came and spoke on tarot.
He did. He
And
did.
he's a graphologist, Tesla biographer, Mark, M-A-R-C, Cipher, S-E-I-F-E-R. Anyone that isn't
Hmm.
familiar with him, if you Google him, there's quite a lot to look at. But
Hmm.
they're doing a 3-week class on palmistry.
Hmm.
And what will be fun about this is a lot of times John's lectures are more informational, but at the end of this class, you will know how to read palms. And you would
Hmm.
be able to take it and do something with it, or just kind of keep it to yourself, whatever you want
Make
to
it
do with
your
it.
own. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, again, the talent, like I say, the talent that you utilize within your classrooms, is just it's amazing that you can. It's such a place where you don't feel that you are in, that you're in over your head or you're not connecting with these folks, and yet the people that you world-renowned authors and professors, and it's just these people that work with you are so incredible. Not only that, you also do table tipping as well as table tipping facilitation, which
Yeah.
is super cool. So can you kind of explain a little bit about what table tipping is? I know what it is, and I signed up for your class like 3 years ago. But can you just explain to the people who are watching and listening what that could be?
So table tipping, it is a physical form of mediumship. The table does actually move, and it tips or taps out messages. Um, Everyone that facilitates has a table guide and has a purpose for tipping. For some people, it's healing. Mine is helping people cross over. Um,
Mhm.
and it could be anyone that comes on with a message for you. It could be
Mhm.
someone from a past life, could be a loved one that's crossed over, actually, or not even crossed over, but is just not physically here in the
Right.
3D anymore. Um, Occasionally, the higher self of someone who's still here. Sometimes when I table tip, my dog will come on and say, "Time to come home."
I've witnessed that.
So,
It is
yeah,
true.
yeah. Could be an angel, a guide.
Mhm.
You never know.
Yeah. It runs the gamut, and I know that when
It
we've done
does.
it. Yep, there are people who utilize it for different purposes, if it is to connect with loved ones who have passed, or if it is to garner some sort of message or some sort of inference as to what's going on within your life. It's all just information, and the table is just a physical conduit for us to utilize in order. It would be like a pendulum, a spirit board. It's all one and the same. It is a physical object that we use to do that. And you use Carrie Naismith, who is
Yes,
incredible.
she's
Love her.
awesome.
She's
Yep,
awesome. She brings it to life. Again, I feel like with the talent that you have that loves to collaborate with you, you don't feel out of place. You feel really kind of warm and welcomed in their
thank
world,
you.
and that's the point of it, right? It's to feel
Absolutely.
that everybody has an ability of some sort, and whether or not we choose to use it or how we choose to use it is entirely up to that individual. And the people that come to your classes and that are very much involved, you can absolutely see the testament to what that is. I am super excited to take the class on palmistry, and the reason is
I
because
am too.
yeah, I was told that I have very distinct palms, and it's not the X or the M or the things that people look for. I have
Yeah.
what they call a simian line. So I literally have a line that goes right across my palm, which a lot of people don't have. So I can't wait to see what that means,
That's
especially coming
awesome.
from somebody like Mark and John D'Angelo, who is incredible. If you haven't already
He's
looked him up,
awesome.
please do. Yes. Um, So, Emerald Frog, where is it located? I know where it is, but where in Rhode Island in the grand scheme of things?
So the address is 2154 Broad Street. It is in Cranston, Patuxent Village,
Mhm,
and moved there 3 years ago.
mhm.
3 years ago,
Very
the end of
steeped
January.
Yep, very steeped in history over there, so I do know that. I have utilized your bathroom and known that I wasn't alone. I was in the back room.
Well, it depends on my mood. There is an apartment upstairs. Someone lives there, but
Yeah.
if I'm feeling a little cheeky and we start hearing noises, I do let people just kind of believe that it's paranormal activity and not the person that lives there. But
I have to, well, I should preface that, being that it's an area that's steeped in activity. If you know anything about Rhode Island history, Patuxent Village is where the great ship, the HMS Gaspee, was burnt to the
yes,
ground. And so there's a lot of that revolutionary kind of energy that's there. There's a big parade that's there in the early summer that goes on. So it is very colonial. And
yes, it is.
again, that energy, especially because it is a space where a big event had occurred in the foundation of our country. So that is exactly where it is. So like I said, I wasn't alone, but it wasn't with a person who was
Yeah, no.
alive. And I was like,
No,
oh,
it
well, hi.
actually, the building that I'm in is the oldest house in Patuxent Village. I don't know the original location. It was moved to where it is now, but it is the oldest house in Patuxent, which I
That
thought
is
was
pretty
interesting.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty cool information. So it kind of goes hand in hand with the fact that it's very homey, in the sense of what you are trying to put out there into the universe, literally to the working folk out here. It's not something that a person wouldn't be able to obtain. These informations and these courses are ones that it's so incredible that you do that and that you kind of put them on. I know that you had gone through a transitionary period of opening up a second location, but realized that it wasn't for you. And I think what you're doing is incredible.
I'm very lucky. I have awesome people that I get to collaborate with. We've talked about a few of them: Carrie, Mark, John Koenig, who wrote a book, My Past Lives. He also is a hypnotherapist, and that book that he wrote is journeys that he's taken to visit some of his past lives. Really is a fun book. But what's great is these are people that are outstanding in their fields and at what they do, but they're so excited about teaching people, and they're excited that people want to learn and they want to share the knowledge and the wisdom that they have through their many, many years of experience. which is great. I'm someone, well, we both are, we're the kind of people that feel like there's room for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not everyone
Yep.
is of the same mindset.
Mm-mm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm very
Especially
lucky
in the field.
that, yeah. But I am very lucky. These are really great people, and they're just so excited about teaching people and passing the information on. So it is nice for people that are coming in to learn something because, like you said, you can feel at home. It doesn't matter if you have zero experience or a ton of experience. It's
Mhm.
for everybody. It really
It
is,
is. Yep.
which is
You
nice.
know what I forgot to do? I totally forgot to talk about the card of the day.
Ooh,
So I pulled
well,
one
let's
off
do that.
camera. It's sitting here looking at me like, hello. So this is the Six of Swords. It makes a lot of sense that we talk about where you're located because if, as you can see, we have water behind us. So it is that Six of Swords on that boat, kind of pushing along. How do you feel about maybe even the number six, Jen?
Well, 6 3 6 9, tapping into the divine matrix. It's a magical number. Six is, well, three really is my number, but 3 6 and 9 are
Right.
my numbers. So and it is interesting because I've seen a lot of sixes lately. They're
I
everywhere.
have too. Yeah. Actually, when I was working today, I could tell you that I pulled this card for three different people. And
Wow.
I didn't take it as it was meant for me, but maybe I should, especially today, that this it's a journey and we're going on it. And sometimes what we plan for isn't always what happens, but oh, see, Tesla 369. Mike is a big number guy. Our producer is a big number guy. So yes, 369. Um, but understanding that the journey is what it's just a whole bunch of lessons and it's a whole bunch of pointed things that we have to pick up. I love that. And again, the whole idea of we're all on some sort of path. Our paths sometimes collide, sometimes they miss each other, sometimes. But the idea too, in the sense of what you're trying to bring out there into the world, is you're trying to change people's perspectives and make the metaphysical or the energy work, the healing, a little bit different for everybody, right? How many places could you go to and say, well, we're going to do a course on palmistry? It very
Not a
rare.
lot. And working on
Exactly.
trying to bring in more different things. And, Sarah, I don't know about you, but I was thinking about this earlier today. Um, It wasn't until I was an adult in my 30s that I actually found some place. I wandered into this fantastic shop in Plymouth, Massachusetts, Angels by the Sea, and they're not there anymore. But that was the first place that I was actually able to take a class and learn how to read angel cards. And that's where I was trained in Reiki. When I was a young teen, 13, 14, 15 years old, and you couldn't go anywhere to learn any of this. If you had, I thought I might have some intuition, maybe just a little, um, but there was nowhere to go to learn what to do with it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I thought I was crazy because back then you did not hear the word empath. That was, and of course, now I'm really showing my age, but the word empath was not in the
Sensitive, right?
vocabulary.
Remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Sensitive. You're sensitive.
No, and
Yeah.
I had no idea that you could feel other people's feelings. I really thought that I was crazy. I'm like, okay, well, there's
Yeah.
mental illness in my family, so clearly that's what's going on.
Right.
It
Right.
was quite a relief to find out that not
You weren't
yet,
that crazy.
not that crazy. Me,
I
just a little, but not
I
that
would
crazy.
think, right. I would think that that story is very reminiscent to a lot of people and kind of is reflective of what a lot of people really witness. You get to this point 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, especially as a female, or that you have that feminine energy, that things start to change. Our bodies change, therefore
Hmm.
our cycle literally and figuratively starts to change as well, and we start to ask some questions. What is this? What am we learning here? Why do I feel this certain way? Why, could you blame it on strictly hormones? You probably could way back in the day, but now we know it's a little bit more than that. So that's where you get the like the little basis of wanting to know more, especially about your intuition and about your feelings regarding such things as intuition. So then life happens. John Lennon said it best. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. And you
Yeah.
get stuck in a society of what we know it to be, pulled in all these different directions. So then what happens in your 30s or when you're kind of settled again, that second cycle has come around, is then you really develop and understand and learn and take classes and pick up a deck or, pick up some sort of tool and make it your own. And then we go with it. Right. And that's kind of where you
Absolutely.
are. That's where I have been. And we learned that those patterns can easily be negated or kind of, not negated in a bad way, but kind of eased into something else. I've said it before about my daughter. When she was little, she exhibited some of the same things that I did. And I was like, instead of me saying, oh, that's not real, don't worry about it, I say, how does that make you feel? And then she's like, "It's fine," and then goes along and I know eventually it'll come back again, right?
Right.
And she'll ask those questions, and she'll wanna take the classes, and she'll wanna go out and buy decks and whatever else she's into, and a place like Emerald Frog is a place that she would feel welcome and home to learn anything. Now, I know that you have a little, fairy, who likes to spend a lot of time with you energetically. She is sort of like a little twin. And she is always by your side. She is a friend's daughter. And so we know that even at a younger age, and she's probably what, like mid teens?
She is. She'll be 16 in May.
Mhm. And getting to hang out with you in your shop and learning all of these different things, what a blessing. She's definitely got a leg up on some of the other kids her age and to understand that it's part of a daily existence and it's not something that woo, we should be afraid of, sort of like she embraces it. And I know that's where she comes from. But if you think about what the content of what you're teaching, I'm sure that we could kind of speak to that early age of learning. Those baby witches are going to want to come in and start, right? So it
Well, they
makes a lot
do.
of
And
sense.
a lot of the classes and events, they are open to people under 18 with appropriate maturity and, of course, parental consent, because that actually tends to be, I think, where the problem comes in as far as
Hmm.
doing a reading for a younger person or teaching them. They're not the issue, the parents are.
Hmm.
So,
Yep.
um,
Yep.
you know,
I
that
agree. Um, I choose not to, just for personal experience. I choose not to read for people under the age of 18, and it is mostly because of parental issue in that.
yeah.
Even when parents say, "Well, I say it's okay," I'm like, "Yeah, but you really don't. You really
Yeah.
don't."
I was
So
gonna
I
say,
choose
you know
as
when
my
it's
own.
really okay and when it's really not.
Yeah, exactly. So I choose from my own personal preference. I know there are other readers out there
Mhm.
that have no problem reading for any age group of any kind. But I feel like a place like yours, it's home to a lot of different ideals, and everybody has a seat. So let's talk a little bit about. So we talked a little bit about table tipping. We talked a little bit about the palmistry class. What other
Mhm.
things do you have going on the docket?
So, I actually have something that I'm very passionate about. It's actually why I got into Reiki to begin with. Back in the early 2000s, I had a business. I was a medical transcriptionist. And
Hmm.
I did type for all specialties, but my specialty was oncology, and Dana-Farber Cancer Institute was one of my accounts. They opened up the Leonard Zakim Center for Complementary Therapies 2005, 2006,
Hmm.
somewhere around there. So, in some of the regular notes, some of the information from there started kind of seeping in on the acupuncture, the Reiki, and Reiki is what got my attention. And I decided at some point I wanted to learn more about it. So I took a level one class because I wanted to know how it worked.
Hmm.
This was one of the things on my journey that finally, I'm very logical, I'm very science minded.
Hmm.
So my own experiences with intuition were at odds with my logic, and it took me a long time to figure out that they're really not mutually exclusive, that it's all magic. It's just that
Hmm.
some of the magic we understand the science behind and some of it we don't, but it's all magic.
And that's a great way to put it. it's and people would say, like, laughter is the best medicine. Well, what I find funny is not the same, well, it is what you find funny, but for somebody else, it might not be, right?
Right.
So, but either way, that's a magic quality. If you make somebody laugh, then they feel better. It's like that kind of a thing. So I
Absolutely.
get what you're saying. Energy is energy, and sometimes it's very fluid, and sometimes it's very proven to be such, and then sometimes it's totally not.
No, definitely. So they don't tell you in Reiki 1 how it works?
Mhm.
At least they didn't back then. So it's
Why
like,
would
all right,
they?
it must be a level 2 thing. So I took level 2, and I didn't find out there either. So I was like, all right, it's got to be a master thing. So my mastership, I earned it. I didn't buy it. It was a year-long mastership. I did 300 hours of community Reiki as part of my requirements for graduation, and I also wrote the curriculum for and taught my first level 1 class as part of my mastership. And actually, it was my Reiki mastership. We talked about Kerry earlier. That's how she and I met.
Mhm.
We took our mastership together. Um, so the oncology is what got me into Reiki to begin with. And I
Mhm.
completed my mastership back in, I don't remember if it was 2011 or 2013. Think probably 2013.
Okay. I'd
Actually,
say that.
yes, it was. It was because I had just gotten divorced, and unfortunately, my married name is what's on my certificate, not my name now. I took my name back. Um, but so what's interesting is that finally, a decade later, um, and again, I get to collaborate with just the most amazing people. And we have
Mhm.
a monthly integrative oncology support clinic. We offer Reiki, massage, light touch therapy, facials. I have a licensed mental health clinician that is doing a group therapy support. I have a couple of ordained ministers that are offering spiritual support, and one of them, unfortunately, has been caretaker to several family members who have passed from cancer. So, peer counseling as well.
Right. Mhm.
So, counseling and healing services and the facials make you feel a little pampered,
Mhm.
open
Mhm.
to people who are up to 5 years out from treatment and their
Mhm.
caretakers. And we felt it was very important to include the caretakers because nobody ever thinks of them.
Yep, and being that I do have a loved one who has gone through the gamut with cancer, stage 4 lymphoma in 2020, you're right. We just do what we do and try to do save face, but sometimes it's that we need that care too. Not that the person going through it doesn't need it as well. It's kind of like a collective practice. So I totally understand that
Absolutely.
and appreciate that.
So it's nice. It's a free service to the community.
And
Um,
how would we access that? Would we find that through Emerald Frog, or is that another specific?
I do post the events on
Mhm,
the Facebook page. I
mhm,
do have a newsletter that I send out
mhm,
that I put the calendar of events and then other things in there too.
mhm.
So if anyone would like to receive the newsletter so that if they're interested in the clinic, they know when the next ones are coming up. March 16th, it's always a Saturday. So for March,
Mhm.
it's the 16th, and for April, it will be the 13th. I can be emailed at emeraldfrog369@gmail.com if someone wants to be added to 369. Yeah.
Three, three, six,
There it is
nine.
again.
Mhm.
If someone wants to be added to the email list, or they can check the events section on the Facebook page
Yeah.
to find out when the
Um,
next ones are.
we have talked about on this show previous, and I know that my producer, King Mike L, will also agree because he's the one who kind of recognized it and pinpointed it, is that healing modality, in the sense of if it's Reiki or cards or anything, goes hand in hand with the medical sector. So a lot of people that have the abilities and are using the abilities and whatever that looks like for them, have some of them have started off in the medical world, nurses, medical
Oh,
transcriptionists, anybody within that care sector, you will notice comes
absolutely.
through in that other metaphysical realm, it's sort of like that sixth sense. You just know things before you know things, and because you are
Mhm.
dealing with that a healing property, it doesn't matter where it is. You could be a janitor in a hospital, you're still seeing it. You're still part of it. And that, if you have questions or you're wondering, develop those skills, right? Because that's what you did.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not everybody can recognize that they're born this way. Sometimes it's the path of their livelihood, which they've chosen, then facilitates an opening of a door into this world. And it's not a slippery slope. You can stop or go forward or however you want to do it. Usually, what happens, you want to know everything because you want to immerse yourself in all things. But it's kind of like it once you get what you need, you keep going in that place, and then if you don't feel like you're comfortable, you go someplace else. It's very fluid.
It is, and that's what's great about it, because you can start
Mhm.
off being attracted to one thing and you learn a little bit about it, and then you're on to the next thing, and it takes you places sometimes you never thought you'd go.
Exactly, and I 150% believe that because that's happened to me. Never thought that I would be a professional medium and tarot reader at this, at 43 years of age, and doing a podcast beyond any belief, it's just been completely crazy. But what a ride, right? So we kind of have to just go
Absolutely.
with it and figure out where we need to be with this. And it's not a perfect science. Medicine sometimes is not a perfect science. We can give you the drugs and we can give you the care, but
Mm,
it doesn't work for everybody. It's not cookie cutter. Same thing with
not at
Reiki.
all.
I'm sure the
Mhm.
energetic clearings and the healings and all the things that you do isn't going to work for this person the same way it's going to work for the next client that you have.
Well, it doesn't, and it also doesn't, from practitioner to practitioner, which is one of the reasons why there is room for all of us.
Mhm.
They
Science is constantly changing, Mike says. He's like the guy behind the curtain. He's just throwing things at us down here on the ticker
the
tape.
great and powerful
Hilarious.
on. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Um, no, you should pay
Science is
attention to him.
always changing. It is.
It is. It's always changing, and we are always changing. We are
Mm,
energetic beings that are always changing. So to be able to take care of that and to help manifest what needs to be done for each individual, it's not that we're doing it for them, we're helping them, we're assisting them, we're guiding them, we're aiding them. You have to do
exactly.
the work too, which is always a quagmire, but it has to happen, right? It's always a quagmire.
Well, it is, because you get people that come in and they want quick magical solutions and answers, and it's like, well, no, there's still action required on your part too.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I'm sure you have some stories of people coming in for readings and saying, "Well, that's not what I wanted to hear." And you're like, "That's not what you were gonna hear."
yeah. Well, it's interesting because I've had people that will, and I'm sure you get them too. They want to hear a certain thing and you're not telling them what they want to hear. So they think that if they ask the same question but in a different way, and
Mhm.
so you go around in circles, and then you also have people that I don't know, it's really kind of mind blowing. And I told one person recently that spirit wasn't going to tell me because it wasn't for them to know right now.
Right.
So
Yep.
they said, okay, well, if I go to a different reader, well, I said, I'm sure if you go to a different reader, you will be able to find someone who will take your money and tell you what you want to hear.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
the reality of it is, you're not meant to know that right now.
Right. And there are those people that will fact check and they will go to a different reader. And the thing is
Mhm.
that more often than not, you will get information that is pretty much on par with what that other reader has said. It might not
Yes,
be the same verbiage, it might not be the same concept, but it underlying factor is that this is what needs to go on in order for you to put one foot in front of the other. We're not going to do it for you. It's funny because that has happened to me before, and we speak amongst each other sometimes, and I'll be like, "You got that person?" You oh, man. It's, it's not to laugh at that individual in whatever they're asking for.
No,
It's
not
just
at
to
all.
say like, "Oh, okay, the human connection is there," that kind of a thing.
Mhm,
Um, Now you did mention earlier about table tipping, and I kinda wanna circle
mhm,
back to that, no pun intended
sure.
there. But let's talk about what the different kind of facets are. Now you said that you tend to cross people over.
Yes.
Um, and I have to tell you, I've done table tipping for many years. I'm going to be doing another session at another location. It's sort of like it's in demand, so to speak, because it's a
Mhm.
different form that it's not necessarily. Oh, what happened? Oh, we lost you.
Hey.
Oh, and you came back. All right then. It's not the same in the sense of like, it's not like a gallery style reading. It's not, it's very interactive. And I think that's
Yes.
why a lot of people like it because our energy is what's moving a physical object, right? So tell me about crossing people over because I have to tell you, I've never had to do that.
So I always know when it's someone that's looking to be crossed over because when someone comes on, the table will tip so that you know that they're
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
And, I'll ask who they're there for. And they might say everyone, or they might pick a person.
Hmm.
But then when I say, who is this, please? It's repetitive letters. So it might be E, 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 and they'll get stuck on the same letter. So I know when they're repeating whatever letter they've chosen to repeat,
Hmm.
I'll say, okay, so you're looking to be crossed over. And then
Hmm.
I ask my table guide if it's in that person's best interests and our
Hmm.
best
Hmm.
interest seated around the table to help this person cross over. Only once have I been told no.
Hmm.
Typically, the answer is yes. Um, and then we just have everyone close their eyes,
Hmm.
including the people looking to cross. Um, I will typically get more than one in a session. So once one comes on, I'll invite the rest of them to come in and do them all at once. Um, have everyone close their eyes. Uh, the people on the other side don't have to close their eyes, but have them imagine that they're standing on one side of a bridge. On the other side is a beautiful, bright white light. And when they're ready to start to move across the bridge, noticing that on either side of the bridge is lined with all their angels and guides, all our angels and
Hmm.
guides.
Hmm.
And once they get over and into the light to let us know they're there, and the table will rock until everyone is crossed.
Right. That is so beautiful, and I think that in my own world, what I can envision that to be is that they find you to be a safe place for them to do that, because they're specifically choosing you, and when that is open, because again and everybody's different. I get a lot of people who wanna speak to their loved ones, and I feel like that's really reminiscent for what I do on a daily, right?
Right.
But for you, it's a place that these people on all sides of the plains, here, there, and everywhere, feel safe within your space. And it goes hand in hand with what we talked about. It's a home environment where you are, you
It
know?
is. Yeah,
Mhm. And
it
so
is.
everybody
It
feels
was a
comfy
house.
enough to say, "Go ahead. Go ahead and
It's
walk."
like sitting in your living room.
Mhm.
I have it set up
Yeah.
so that you come in, it's like sitting in your friend's living room with them for whatever you're there for.
Right. Right. I think that's so beautiful, Jen, because not a lot of people who know about table tipping would realize that that is something. Usually, people want a message, they want gratification immediately. They don't necessarily realize that it's the intent is for that energetic healing, no matter where you are. And that safe place that
Absolutely.
you've created, because I know that you use multiple tables, your guides are going to protect you no matter what it is.
Yes. No, they definitely will. Sometimes I'll facilitate myself. A lot of times Carrie and I both do.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and it's good because we have different table guides. My purpose is for crossing people over. Hers is for healing. So,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
we get confirming information, but we also get different information. A a lot of times if the past life comes through, I'll be the one that will be channeling and picking up on the past life. Our
Mm-hmm.
clairs are different. I don't see.
Right.
Carrie does. So
Mm-hmm.
Carrie's going to be the one that's going to be able to say that, you know, there's a guy standing behind you, gray hair and a beard or whatever it is, and,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, be able to offer that validation and confirmation for someone. I
Mm-hmm.
don't
Yep.
see, I feel, and I know. So I
Right.
can definitely tell you how the person's feeling.
Yeah.
But,
Well, he's
you know,
he's a little hungry.
yeah. No,
It's funny. It's funny that you say that because I can witness both of that. And what's been happening a lot lately is that people will try to feed me. I've said it before. I will get that nanny and that grandmother that will make me cookies or make me a lasagna, and I'm like, "You're speaking a language I understand." So it's funny that I say, "Well, he's hungry."
See. And I'm always hungry, so, you know,
Yeah,
yeah, if
yeah.
someone wants
No,
to
I'm with you.
bake cookies to bring along, I'm good with
That's
that.
always.
But no,
I
I
love
love
that.
that the table tipping is I know. Oh gosh. I love that the table tipping is catching on more the way it is. I mean, it's
Mhm,
not anything new. It was something that was actually very popular last century and then just kind of fell out of favor as things
mhm,
do, and it's making a resurgence. What I like about it is, one, as opposed to gallery style, everyone is going to get a message or two, as
mhm.
opposed to coming and maybe you'll get a message, maybe not. I mean, I'm happy to go sit in a gallery. I don't care if, well, I mean, I'd like to get a message, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still happy to see other people get their messages too, even
Mhm.
if I don't. But with a table tipping, it's a smaller, more intimate group. So everybody will get a message. But the people are able to interact directly. And I think that as a participant, before I learned how to facilitate, that was the thing that I liked so much about it. I wasn't relying on the medium to receive the information, interpret it, and then give it to me. I was
Mhm.
interacting directly with the person that was there with a message for me.
I
So the
see
medium is
somebody
able
behind
to,
you.
do you?
I do.
Oh, you do? Hi, baby.
So this
Oh,
is
hi, good
Jen's
boy.
familiar who speaks to her in table tipping and says, "Come home, mama."
Yeah, he
Right?
does. So, well, you know,
I
one time he told me to come home. He needed help. And so I was just table tipping for fun. I was at Carrie's. We closed the table and I went home. I had no intention of leaving and going home at that time. And when I first got there, he was okay. But within 5 minutes of me being home, a toy he had, he started choking on. And if I wasn't there,
Oh my goodness. Isn't that funny? I and also he is your familiar by all any
yes,
means. So if you could show the
yes,
pictures that you showed us off camera. But
I
not only that,
will.
for those of you
Um,
watching and listening, Jen also does Reiki on animals because they are the epitome of energy
oh,
in
and they're so
a furry
receptive
or
to it.
scaly, right, format, right?
Yeah,
So if you think about it, as much as our human bodies need that energetic clearing and energetic healing, sometimes our furry friends and our loved, ones need that as well. So Jen was telling me earlier about her favorite client who gave her a gift today. So show us the
yeah.
gift.
So my favorite client is a dog named Max. His dad comes from Everett, Massachusetts, all the way to Cranston, brings him. He actually started coming. He had a dog before Sparky, and he brought Sparky for um, Reiki treatments because he was going through chemo. So I actually
Mhm.
started with with the Reiki for chemo with the animals.
Isn't
Um,
that something?
isn't it? Unfortunately, Sparky did pass away, and then after a time, Sparky's dad got Max, and so Max, thank God, is healthy, but he brings Max. So he brought me. Um, we'll start with this one. So my goodest boy, his name is Dawkins, is a law enforcement officer.
And
And
Dawkins
then
has the most beautiful ice blue eyes.
he does. He does. And because it's all about balance, you got the yin and the
Mhm,
yang, he
mhm.
did the law enforcement portrait, so had to do the inmate mugshot. So Dawkins has a
Oh my,
mugshot, and he's got his Leo portrait, which I
yep,
thought it was absolutely adorable.
that is great. That
So,
is great. So so not
so
only
that
do you do Reiki on humans, you also do Reiki on animals, and that is
absolutely,
they have the purest energy, right? They have the
you really
purest
do.
energy because what
Yeah,
they as man's best friend, even if it's a dog or a cat, what they've been put to do for us is to enhance our lives for the better. And when we are sick, when we
I
don't
do.
feel good, you always have somebody who's stuck to you like Velcro. I know I do. I think there was somebody back here, but for me too, a cat on a windowsill somewhere. But I think that it's really important that we look at that and say, as a healing practitioner, or as somebody who does energetic clearings and healings through Reiki and readings, we can't just say it's just a human thing because our energy is always moving, and we do have that ability to connect with animals that can't speak our language but speak our language, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yep,
Dawkins is yours for sure.
he is. He is. He's been my protector from the beginning.
Mhm.
Um, I got him when I was going through my divorce. Dawkins is going to be 12 this summer. I can't believe it. I got him, he was 11 months old. I wanted a nice old pug or something like that would just, want to lay on the couch and watch TV with me.
Mhm.
Instead, I go to the pound and fall in love with this 11-month-old, very active, husky Australian cattle dog mix.
Oh my god. So yes, protector all day.
Yes. And I was not a very experienced dog owner, but I had only had him a few weeks, and um, he wasn't my ex-husband yet, but we were separated. I had my own apartment. He stopped by, and I was not comfortable with him being there. And it was up on the second floor. So Dawkins stood on the landing up at the door to come into the apartment. My ex got about halfway up the stairs, and that dog started making noises that I have not heard him make since and hadn't heard him make beforehand. And, the teeth, the
Mhm.
fur, everything. And he's like, call your dog off. I'm like, I'm not an experienced dog owner. I don't know how to call him off. I don't know what to tell you.
Right. Obviously, he sees
But
something that
he was
could be it.
reacting to my anxiety. But you know what?
Of
Dogs know good
course.
people too.
They
And they know
do.
when people aren't.
They do.
So,
They do.
yeah, they really do. So
Yep.
after that,
I guess
I
they'd
felt
be the
quite
original
safe.
readers, right? The original readers, dogs, because they know a good person.
Yeah. No, they really are. They're perfect. If we
Yeah.
want to, you know what? We've just got it figured out. Pe- People are still welcome to come spend money at my shop to learn things, but they don't even have to. Just if they want to learn how to do this and what to do, observe a dog. Observe a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
That
teach you
that is
everything you need to
100.
know about life. Observe a
Oh
dog.
my god, that's the book we're gonna write. That's the book we're gonna write. You wanna be a psychic? Read like a dog.
Yep.
Not lie
That's
like
what
a
it
dog.
is.
Read like a dog. That's
We've just
funny.
bottom lined it for everybody.
We sure did.
Now everyone
Um,
knows the secret. Read like a dog.
yes, read like a dog. It's so incredible that, you can offer these gifts not only to pets, but also to their humans because peace of mind for Max's owner. You probably helped him through a really challenging time, and even though you're doing a service for the dog, it's really kind of speaking volumes to making sure that everybody's okay. So, once we start, we can't stop, right?
No,
No.
no. And
So, Jen, what
it's
else do you
yeah.
have going on? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Well, let's see. We've got the classes that we talked about.
Mhm.
Check out the event section. I way overextended myself for March, so there's a lot of different classes going on. Oh, there
Well,
are
you
actually
know how
two classes that I'm
Februaries are kind
retiring.
of. Oh, you
Yeah,
are? Okay.
I am. There's two classes that I'm offering one last time in March, and then that's it. I mean, who knows? Like, I don't know, 6 years from now, six, I might
Hmm.
dust them off and bring them out again. But self care for empaths and pendulum dowsing, they're being offered one last time in March, and then we won't see them anymore.
Hmm. Self-care for empaths. If anything, that is always changing as well, right? So maybe you'll have to
It
dust
is.
it off. We probably overextended it over the course of the pandemic and going forward. So,
Right.
it's probably something you will have to dust off. But self-care for empaths. I feel like that's kind of like it's a 101. Like there's all the different things you can
Yeah,
do. And you just have to trust what's yours, right?
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. No,
And then pendulum dowsing.
it's one of my favorites too. So I kind of, kind of that's a little. I'll probably bust that one out again in a few
Mhm.
years because I really like that one.
Mhm.
But yeah, for now that's being put away. But that
Retired.
actually is a nice introduction to someone because the pendulum is not expensive.
Mhm.
It's not something that's a huge investment for someone if they want to kind of
Mhm.
start dabbling in divination. I think that the pendulum is a good place to start.
Yeah, I'd agree. Not only that, you can make your own pendulum based on whatever
Yes,
you
you
want.
can.
The old Italian way of predicting whether or not a baby was a boy or a girl
Hmm.
was used either a pin on a string or
Right.
a pendant on a string or even a ring on a string or a ring on a necklace.
Hmm.
And using the energy of what was happening, depending on where you grew up, if circle was for girl and line was for boy or vice versa.
Yep.
Everybody's got their own kind of, but that is, that old sort of, old wives' tales are a form of magic, and usually using a
Absolutely.
pendulum is a yes or no. So that's easy. That's like dip your toe in the water, so to speak, right? That's
Absolutely.
like a magic 8 ball right there, like
It
a
really
pendulum.
is. You
Mhm,
know what? I'll tell you though, the pendulum is small but mighty. And it's funny because, I'm sitting on my couch in my living room, but here it is. There's always one next
mhm,
to me. Um, for as small as it is, I don't have any other tools that demand the respect that a pendulum does.
mhm,
If
mhm,
I, well, and that's one of the things, there's a few things that it doesn't matter which class you take. There's a few running themes. One is always respect for your tools and taking
mhm.
proper care
Yep,
of them, respect for your tools. Um, Self care has actually kind of become something that really just gets included in everything um, because you do have to keep yourself up as
right.
much
You
as
can't
possible.
can't pour from an empty cup. I was
No,
having this
you really
conversation
can't.
today. Uh-huh. So
Yeah, you
sometimes
can't
you
at
have to
all.
go through. You had said it off camera, and I really liked the idea that you said, "I'm hermiting. I've been hermiting lately."
Yeah,
We kinda have to do that sometimes. We kinda have to resort to a little bit of introspection and just a little bit of kind of getting back to basics for ourselves because we can't keep going and going and going without, refilling what we're working with.
no, absolutely. You do have to.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have to be, and I think this is kind of where people get hung up. Something is always better than nothing. If all you've got is 5 minutes, do something for 5 minutes. And the value of breathing is just completely underestimated.
Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
paying attention to how you're breathing. Um, I actually, and I don't mind sharing this. Since
Mhm.
I was a teen, off and on, I've had issues with anxiety and depression.
Mhm.
Not an unusual story.
Mhm.
When COVID first started, as someone with asthma, I was very concerned about getting it because was worried about my lungs. So I decided, they have those spirometers in the hospital, like after you've had surgery or something like that. I'm like, all right, well, I don't have one of those, but if I do breathing exercises, maybe
Mhm.
that will help to keep my lung function good so that if I should catch this, because I was an essential worker, I worked in a medical office at the time.
Mhm.
I wasn't at home for COVID. So I was concerned about catching it in the beginning. Um, so several times a day, I would go through and I would do some breathing exercises. I'd do some nice deep breaths, make sure I was getting my lungs nice and full and all that. And then just kind of paying attention to how I was breathing. I was not spending a lot of time on this either by any means,
Mhm.
but just at several times throughout the day, I'd take a couple
Mhm.
of breaths. What I ended up noticing was my anxiety was under the best control after a couple weeks
Wow.
of doing that it had been in a couple of years,
Wow. No
just from
medication,
breathing,
no, anything external introduced into your body. It was literally just your breath.
just
And
breathing.
actually, if you think about it, it's the oxygen that you're kind of pumping through. It's kind of
Mhm.
diffusing some of those knots. And, I can't speak to how breath work really operates because as an asthmatic as well, um, it's hard to keep. I can never blow up balloons. I can't do I'm like,
Yeah.
I have no lung capacity to do that.
Yeah.
But, I know that in the power of what the mind can do for the body, again, that's not a perfect science, but it worked for you. So I love the fact that you did that for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, and quite by accident, um,
And you didn't pass
in
out.
trying to solve one problem, I also solved another,
Yeah,
so it worked
yeah.
out good.
And those spirometers are a pain in the butt, let me tell you.
Yeah, they are.
They're heavy, they hurt. Ugh.
Yeah, you know what?
Ugh.
I felt much more successful just doing some breathing without having one of those, which was nice.
Mhm,
But yeah, so I mean, really just breathing. Like people really
mhm.
underestimate the power of just taking a few breaths as a
Right.
means of
Yep.
self-care.
Right. And it makes a lot of sense because, people who are, I'm a stay-at-home mom on the other side of this world, besides being a medium and a tarot reader, is that, the kids are the focus, that's my primary. So sometimes you just got to take a moment, take a breath, get out of the way, take a moment to yourself,
Yep.
and so yeah, they tell you to don't react, no knee-jerk reaction. It's literally take a breath and then say something. So but it makes sense. So now that's an idea for you, breath work. We should probably look into that at Emerald Frog, the home away from home.
You know what? I probably should. I
Mm. Mhm.
honestly, I don't really know anything about it, but it probably is something I should look into considering, you know.
Yeah. I'm sure there's somebody out there who would love to facilitate a class in your
I was
in
just
your
gonna say, all
space.
right, anyone watching that does breath work, call me,
Want
text
Yep,
me,
call
reach
me.
out.
Call me.
Yeah,
I have one last question for you.
sure.
I'm really interested to know how you came up with Emerald Frog.
Well, uh, stubborn Taurus, emerald is my birthstone.
Mhm.
Um, but I like the properties of emerald too. It's a stone for romance, everlasting love. It encourages loyalty and friendship, regeneration and recovery, which is
Mhm.
perfect for a place of healing.
Mhm.
And of course, it's green, so it's a good stone to work with the heart chakra.
Heart chakra.
So
Mhm.
emerald seemed a natural choice. And frog has been one of my animal totems for a while. Transformation. It's all about
Mhm.
transformation with frog.
Mhm.
And that's, you know, you go to a healer not for them to heal you, but for them to trigger your own innate ability to heal yourself. And
Mhm.
it's all transformation and evolution.
Mhm.
We don't end up in the same place we started, and we take side trips before we come back onto our path.
Right? Right? Told you.
Absolutely.
Happens.
Yeah. So that's where Emerald Frog came from.
I think that's so cool. Not only the transformation of it, because I think that frogs can also change their, I think that they can change their sexual orientation or their, whatever they are, like they're amorphic. Is that the right word? I don't know. Don't shoot the messenger for that one, but I think that they
You
can change.
no, and I'm thinking because honestly, I don't really know the answer to that question, but I wouldn't be surprised. They
Yeah.
really are pretty remarkable. I mean, just, like a little frog, but they really are pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like about frogs, especially in New England, is that the tree frogs alert that it's summer. And those sounds that you hear in the summer is just it brings you back into a time that just brings everything to a point of okay, and then that mentality again, right? I
Yes,
always
it
thought
does.
they
Oh
were
my God, I love the
crickets. Yeah, I
keepers.
always thought they
Love
were
them.
crickets, but they're not. They're peep toads and they're peep frogs or whatever. They're in the trees, and it's so cool. But
It
having
is
that
lovely.
transformation of that energy, it makes a lot of sense. Not only that, they're nondescript. It's not a snake. You're not changing your colors well, frogs can change their colors, but you're not changing your skin all the time. You're not pretending and growing in a different way. You're a nondescript transform transformative, say that 5 times fast, animal. I love that.
Well, and
And
they're
then the
amphibians,
name
so
is
they're adaptable.
yeah, they can be on land, they can be in the water, they can be wherever they wanna be, and they make such beautiful music.
Yes, they do.
Um, and for those of you watching out there, please subscribe, like, share, do all the things for not only legitpodcast.com, for me, Sarah G. Legit Witch MD, say that 5 times fast, also of Le Chat Noir Tarot. And please follow and like Jen at Emerald Frog Reiki and more. She does
Thank
have a
you.
specific group that I know that you do post a lot of fun things into as well. I know that I've made the mistake at some point of posting my reveals in your group, and I'm like, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And you're like, no
It's all
but
good. Yeah.
yeah,
The group I say for the more, I guess, kind of risque memes that I think are really funny, but just can't quite bring myself to post on a public page.
yeah, and that's okay too, because it's all walks of life here. We all have to kind of have a good time and smile no matter what it is. So, but anyway, there's some great classes coming up. There's some great opportunities to learn more within the metaphysical as well as divination in general, especially with palmistry, table tipping, and the like. Jen's always got stuff on the docket. Her place is
Oh, and
absolutely
you know what?
wonderful. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but since we're
That's
talking
okay.
about divination, certificate class starting the first Monday in March, Oracle card certification. So if someone wants
Oracle
to learn
cards.
Oracle cards.
Mhm. Fantastic. If you need more information, the information was posted on the banner, but you can follow any one of us. We did post it. I thank you so much for hanging out with us today on this fantastic Tarot Tuesday. We did get back to that Six of Swords. I will see you next week with another guest. And Jen, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure. It really
Yep.
was.
And we'll do it again. I'm sure we will. We'll have something else to talk about. And if you are going to sign up for that palmistry class, you'll get to see me because I'll be there too. Thank you
Yay.
guys. Have a great night.
Bye.